2. Shabbat Shalom, friends. It's nice to see all of you getting ready for the secular new year. Hopefully a time of shalom, of peace, of renewal, of a better year ahead. You know, most people are excited for the new year, but I think people are really excited for the end of 2020. I hope that this coming year is one full of joy and happiness and togetherness in good health for all. And we are going to begin our service with an opening song. Cantor, do we have a Shabbat song?
We sure do. We'll start off in traditional fashion with Shalom Aleichem, and hope you all sing along. Shalom Aleichem, Malechei Hashari, Malechei Elyon, Mi Melech Malechei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom Malechei Hashalom Malechei Elyon, Mi Melech Malechei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni Shalom Malechei Hashalom Malechei Elyon, Mi Melech Malechei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem Shalom Malechei Hashalom Malechei Elyon, Mi Melech Malechei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Even as some things change, like the dates on the calendar, there's comfort. Things that don't change, melodies like the one we just sang that remind us of times gone past and the times that are still with us. And the same with the Shema. These words are instantly familiar, and this melody too is one that is etched in our hearts. So we turn to the words of the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevon Malechuto Leolam Vaed.
The Mi Chamocha is a song of joy and freedom, a song where, according to Jewish legend, according to Midrash, all the people sang together in perfect harmony and in perfect time, and everybody knew the words. Isn't that amazing? That might have been the true miracle. Sure, the splitting of the sea, that was amazing. But the fact that everyone sang the exact same words at the exact same time, with the exact same pitch and the exact same harmony, that's truly a miracle. So together, maybe we can recreate that miracle as we sing the words of the Mi Chamocha.
Mi Chamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi Chamocha nedar b'kodesh, Mi Chamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi Chamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilon oseh behele, Nora tehilon oseh behele, Adonai melech leolam vaed. Hai la 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 la. Hi, la 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 la. I la 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 la. I la 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 la. Nora tehilon ose pele. Nora tehilon ose pele. Adonai lo leolam roe.
Now, from those familiar words, we turn to our hearts and our minds on this evening. We pause for a few moments of private prayer and meditation. As always, you can take your time on pause and take the time you need to speak the longingness of your heart. So we pause for a moment of private prayer.
To each of our individual prayers as a community, we'll say these words in Hebrew. Yehiyu liratzon imre fi vehegyon libi lefanecha. May the words of our mouths and the meditations in our hearts be acceptable before Adonai, our rock and redeemer. We'll pray these words together. Yehiyu liratzon. Yehiyu liratzon imre fi. והגיון ליבי לפניך, יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך. אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, Adonai tsuri vegoali, yehiu leratzon imre fi, vehegion libi lefanecha, yehiu leratzon imre fi, vehegion libi lefanecha. Adonai tsuri, Adonai tsuri, Adonai tsuri vegoali, Adonai tsuri, Adonai tsuri, Adonai tsuri vegoali.
Take a moment to say a prayer for our planet each week. We think of all on the planet, not just the human beings, but of all the creatures on Earth, and how it's important for us to take responsibility. Dear God, help us your awesome creation and all the life on your wondrous planet Earth. Creator of the universe, help us understand that to master means to take responsibility not only for ourselves, but for all the creatures on Earth. Help us use the power you gave us to build a better life and not casually destroy the beauty we have borrowed from our children. We are the stewards, your partners in creation. We call on help and guidance. Our God, God of our ancestors and of our children, in this time of climate crisis, help to preserve life, protect it, and defend it. We owe it to our children, those born and those yet to be. If not for us, then for them, dear God, guide on our journey.
With those beautiful words, we turn now to healing of our friends, ourselves, our families, and we share the names of all of those we are thinking about right now who are in need of healing. And if you don't hear a loved one's name, you may, of course, say it in your hearts. In particular, we think of Marty Aronson, Aliet O'Bain, Benjamin Chaim Ben Sarah Leah, Lori Conterer, Michael Dalbora, Michael Ellsworth, Marcy Epner, Michelle Felber, Marshall Gelfand, Gloria Gershkoff, Don Goldstein, Stuart Goodman, Jim Graham, Dan Hinden, Julian Horowitz, Martin Hutensky, Ilana Issakow, David Kaminsky, Trevor Keeney, Lisette Cohn-Gill, Rona Kramer, Gabby Krause, Howard Levin, Khan Amalia, Michael Mahler, Barry Merrim, Jana Melnikov, David Moody, Harriet Morrison, Leah Moskoff, Noach Ben David, Dave Pallister, Ani Parab, Beth Parab, Pesach Ben Lanavi Eugene, Mark Pullman, Rachel Yisrael Abat Chaim, Toddy Richmond, Maria Rodriguez, Nancy Roman, Roberta Rosenfeld, Marty Rudow, Sarah Bat-Sheva, Shendel Bat-Batya Vanester, Jeff Slowick, Vanessa Bat-Mashalev Yehoshua, Lionel Watson, Dan Wright, and Mike Zidman. Together, we sing the words in the Misha Berach prayer.
Misha Berach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Leimoteinu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishe Berach Imoteinu Mekor HaBracha Lavoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Over the years, I've had many opportunities to spend December 31st and January 1st in the state of Israel. Back in the day, it would pass like any other day. Nobody really paid any attention to it all. That there have been a large influx of former Jews from the former Soviet Union. It's become a bit more of a deal with restaurants with special menus, things that we more commonly see here in the States. Back then, it was just celebrated by a few expats, and even then, it was like maybe in some apartment or something like that, you'd drink a toast on New Year's Eve. But in fact, in Israel, it's not called New Year's Eve, as in a lot of the world, actually referred to as Sylvester, or among more religious people, the feast of Saint Sylvester. Sylvester was a pope in the 4th century. Legend says he's the one who's responsible for converting the Emperor Constantine to Christianity, and they're creating, in a sense, the Roman Catholic Church and the conversion of the whole Roman Empire. By the way, if you think about it, if Night Boy is born on December 25th, then January 1st is his bris, his circumcision. So from Christmas to New Year's is the birth of Jesus to the circumcision of Jesus. So it's perhaps not quite right to call the secular New Year. It is, in fact, the Christian New Year. And just as Jews have Rosh Hashanah, other faiths like Buddhism, Islam, all have different times of the year that they consider to be the New Year. So in a sense, the fact that we all agree that this is 21 all around the world is honestly because of Western cultural imperialism and colonial power. That's perhaps for another day. That's just history. We do all feel as though something comes to an end when December 31st rolls around. Something else at this time. And of course, in the case of 2020, good riddance. Here's hope that this next year will be better. It's hard to believe that the 21st century is 20% over. That's kind of remarkable. We are also in our Torah finishing the story of and about to go on to the story of Moses in the book of Exodus. In our Parsha, Joseph reveals himself to his brothers, gives them and sends them off to get their father Jacob and bring him to live with them safely in Egypt in that time of famine. Perhaps because he remembers what his brothers were like when they were younger, Joseph admonishes them as they're about to leave. He says, translated, don't quarrel on the way, expecting in a sense that his brothers will fight about one thing or another on their way back to father Jacob. The word for on the way in Hebrew is baderech, and prepositions in Hebrew are quite, they can mean a lot of different things. So ba can be translated as on or in or even with. And that's the understanding this passage as it was understood by Rabbi Menachem Mendel of Kotsk, the Kotsker Rebbe, one of the great Hasidic rabbis. And he universalizes this message, don't quarrel on the way, by changing that ba to mean with. Don't quarrel with the way. He suggests that all of us are on a path. All of us are on a spiritual journey. Wherever we go, encounter great sights and miraculous wonders. We will also experience joy, but we will also have sadness, and setbacks. And he suggests it does us no good to quarrel with the way. The way is just the way. Quarreling with it doesn't help us to get anywhere. He's not suggesting that we should be resigned to fate or telling us that our lives are out of control. He is saying that railing against the darkness will never be as effective as lighting a candle. We are not compliant with tyranny. At every turn, we have to try and find the best way forward on our journey. That's why there is a tradition to say Tefilat HaDerech for the journey. For instance, when someone or a group of people goes off to visit the land of Israel, we begin with Tefilat HaDerech, a prayer of the way. May it be in accordance with your plans for me and for the world, Adonai, my God and God of my ancestors, that I may set the journey peacefully, guard me from perils along the way and bring me safely to my destination. Help me to complete my journey unscathed so that I return home joyfully, alive, and at peace with myself. The Kotsker Rebbe has wisdom made for these times when he says that even though we're not setting out on long journeys, we should say this every day, because each day, every hour, every moment is always a journey and always going through life. Every breath is its own accomplishment. Each new one is worthy of blessing and celebration. So we don't quit the journey. Sometimes it is enough just to breathe. So as we finish 2020 and start 2021, there's no real difference December 31st and January 1st. That's all a matter of perception. We feel a sense of completion. We hope for a new start. Similar with Torah. With the end of Joseph's story, we finish the book of Bereshit. We come to an ending. Before we go on, we take a breath. We realize how far we've come. In our tradition, there's a phrase, a cheer that we say when we finish a book of Torah. Nothing is really changed. We're about to go on to the next story like we do week in and week out, but we pause to reflect. We say that little cheer, Hazak, Hazak, Hazak. We'll say it tomorrow at our Torah study class. In this moment of time, a time of transition, a change of year, from one book to another in the Torah, a change of administration. We say, Hazak, Hazak, v'nit chazek. Let us be strong, and let us strengthen one another. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May this be God's will. Amen. And at this moment, we think of those from generations past. We think of those who have helped mold us and shape us to become who we are. We think of those who have no one to say Kaddish for them. We think of those who lie in unmarked graves. And of course, we think of those members of our own family and our own community who are beyond the reach of our hands, but never beyond the reach of our hearts. So we mark the Shlosh 30-day mourning period for Bob Wiesenek, Ivan J. Stern, Hannah Helfand, Mickey Harris, Arnold Horwitz, Wald. We remember the yard sites this week of Abraham A. Bank, Laurie Bauer, Olga Burke, Harold R. Blumberg, Samuel Cooper, Muriel Dunn, Frank Edelman, Donald Ellis, Regina Fone, Seymour Freed, Nancy Goldstein, Belle Greenspan, Susan Guthman, Alex Hilch, Edith Kramer, Jenny Martyr, Pauline Morrison, Betty Podber, Robert Redman, Mildred Robbins, Laura Ruckberg, Keith Schlanger, Rhoda Schutzman, Steve Silverstein, Shirley Solomon, Charles Sonneborn Jr., Lydia Thurman, David Unger, and Kenneth Zucker. May the memories of all of them reside among us as a blessing. So we praise God and pray for the coming of God's with the words of the Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Alma Divrach Hirute v'yamlich Malchute, B'chaye Echon uv'yom Echon uv'chaye Dechol Beit Yisrael, La uv'yizman Kariv Vimru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam Olmei Olmaya, Yach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei shabrichu, leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru. Yehei Shlomo Rabba min Shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael, v'imru. Amen. Shalom bimromav, huya asay shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru. Amen. So you game for trying some familiar words to a little different tune this week? We're gonna try the old familiar Adon Olam, but don't recognize the tune.
That's right. Thanks, Rabbi Ike, Rabbi Evan, for a beautiful service. And in the spirit of the new beginning, the new secular year, our new calendar year, let's sing this Adon Olam with a special melody. Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yetzir nivra, nasa mechefso kol azay melech shemo nikra, ve'acharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora, ve'hu haya ve'hu hove ve'hu yeh b'tifara, אחד ואין שני להמשיל או להחדירה, בלי ראשית בלי תכלית ולא העוז והמשרה, והוא אלי וחי גואלי בצור חבלי בצרה, והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנת כוסי ביום אקרא. בידו אפקיד רוחי ביתי שון בעירה, ואם רוחי גביעתי אדוני לי ולא יירא. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom. Yesher koch. That's
Shabbat shalom. That was awesome.
yeah.
That was awesome. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Whew, all right. Now we're in the spirit. Shabbat and New Year's.
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. So for the class, should we just start